here?
Yeah.
Oh. That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah?
He gave you his business.
I can pretty much not hear him sometimes. If I want to.
Unless you've gone long, girls, varsity girls are just getting started.
So the games aren't canceled then? Just school tomorrow?
The school tomorrow,
Although it is getting colder.
yeah. Like from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, it changed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was standing out of the wind in the sun this afternoon.
Yeah,
I was
it felt
like,
okay.
It's not bad.
Yep.
It's not bad. And then it changed. Got any footings to go look at tomorrow?
Somebody called for a footing inspection, sorry.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to wait.
I think you got your coveralls.
Roofing one would be better.
Roofing.
They asked if I wanted to go on the roof of the courthouse today. I was like, no, I'll
Is he
pass.
still meeting?
No,
Oh.
this was the federal court.
Okay.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda?
No additions.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we will go to visitors to be heard. If there's anyone that would like to speak, step up to the podium, name, address.
Thank you.
Betsy Hills, Cleveland Avenue, and 4th Street. Good evening, my name is Betsy Hills, and my husband and I are adjacent landowners to this planned development that will be proposed later this evening on the agenda. My parents also own the adjacent pasture land. I'm here to report we are working with the developer, Mr. Nelson, regarding adding a tree buffer between our single-family home from the proposed multifamily dwellings. We are in discussions with him granting an access easement to maintain existing fence line along our cattle pasture. He understands our concern about the traveling public driving down our private driveway, which I am appreciative of. However, we need the city's help on a safety issue. We are asking the city to install signage indicating 4th Avenue is a dead end or start of a private driveway. We have young children playing outside, and we are concerned about the public mistaking our driveway as a street. Regarding the preliminary plan itself, it's my understanding the city requested a future roadway to be shown extending onto our private property as part of the city's comprehensive growth plan. We have a problem with this. The lines drawn are physically unrealistic. The proposed Long Creek Trail, a 70-foot wide right-of-way, is located on the south end of the developer's development and extends through multiple properties, including our land and my parents' pasture. The proposed alignment is located within the FEMA floodplain and likely impacts jurisdictional wetlands along the fringes of Long Creek. Future 4th Avenue appears to be extended along the quarter section line with no regard to my existing house. Now, standard practice is for a preliminary plan to scope the subject property and its connectivity with city infrastructure. Therefore, we object to showing specific street right-of-ways on our private properties. We are not participants in this preliminary plan, and we have not been contacted regarding coordination of alignments for future development by the city of Lennox. Depicting these roadways implies a level of consent and coordination that does not exist. As for my family and me, we have no plans to develop. and this is not our plan. You don't have our approval for a public right-of-way through our land. The current line work showing future roadways outside the plan boundaries does not reflect feasible street alignments. Preferably, we request this line work removed to avoid any confusion, especially since it is on private property. If it must remain, we request a note must be added to the preliminary plan and future engineering submittals stating this line work reflects the city's comprehensive growth plan and is conceptual and subject to change. In summary, we have two simple requests tonight. Number one, we need signage at the end of the public road to prevent the public from unintentionally entering our driveway. Second, we ask that you either remove the future conceptual roadway lines from our private properties or add the conceptual note we requested. These are quick fixes in all reality. So we hope you will make these stipulations a part of the approval. We want to ensure our property rights and safety are respected. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
James Given, 46581, 282nd Street, Lennox. Again, thank you for taking public comment on the preliminary subdivision plan. I'm an LHS graduate. I've had an opportunity to farm and raise livestock with my father and father-in-law on this farm. This development needs to coexist in harmony with livestock in the pasture I own and adjacent to the development. Therefore, I still feel there are questions that have not been answered by the city of Lennox. I'm concerned, number one, the storm sewer. Where is the runoff going? Number two, has a preliminary plan been completed for drainage and access? One of the largest questions pertaining to the 70-foot right-of-way is it come into our attention that the city of Lennox has requested it to be listed on the preliminary plan. Roadways and line work are shown on the property with no explanation in the plan. The 70-foot bike walking path road, whatever it is, what is it? What is this? Is this a road or a walking trail, or is it a bike path? Is it proposed on property? We have the right to know. If this is a nature path or a walking trail, why do you need 70 feet? Some of the pathways cross other people's properties in the preliminary plan. Is the city going to engage those property owners? As of today, we have had no correspondence with the city on why this preliminary plan includes more than the line work on the developer's land. Deflecting this roadway implies a level of consent which does not exist. You do not have our permission. This right-of-way is running through my daughter's property and my pasture. The pasture is not annexed into the city limits, and it is not our plan to ever do so. I feel as if this is government overreach. We can't have this preliminary plan include other people's property or my pasture. Changes can be made yet, and it's your responsibility as a planning and zoning committee to listen to more than just the city administrator or the city engineer on this matter. And that's why I'm addressing this to you this evening. Again, I request that you take the right-of-way off our private properties before approval. Make the necessary changes I've addressed before moving this forward to the city council. Also, Mr. Chairman, if a vote is necessary to take tonight, I'd like to request a roll call vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will go on to the minutes from the December 18th meeting.
make a motion to approve the minutes from the December 18th meeting.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright. Motion carries. On to Kyle.
So, my building report, I noticed earlier this evening that I missed, it shows just the one roofing permit for 2026. I forgot to include 6 new single-family homes that came in last week.
How do you forget 6 houses, Kyle?
Well, they're up front, so they were in my office. Other than that, I got permit values from comparing 2025 to 2024, as well as numbers. Do you have any questions on those?
All the houses out in countryside?
The 6.
Yeah. No questions? Code enforcement updates, just tracking, I had 1 building without a permit and then 4 for parking on grass. Pretty late.
Anything else for Kyle? No. We will go to new business, preliminary plan for the Nelson edition.
Commissioners, we have received an application for a preliminary plan for the new Nelson edition, that was previously referenced as the Alpine edition. Late 2025, the Planning Commission, followed by the City Council, approved a rezone of this property from agricultural to multifamily residential. Now that this zone is actively zoned as multifamily residential, the developer submitted a preliminary plan for review and, if appropriate, approval by the City Council. You'll note the correspondence from the city engineer that several revisions were requested and all revisions have been accepted. Some details to consider in viewing the preliminary plan. We have been discussing with the developer, as well as the one across the street, an oversized water main being installed in Cleveland. That would necessitate a cost to the city for that upsizing cost. That's pretty normal in our world, just because we anticipate that will be a major main coming through there someday. On the property, streets, water, sewer, drainage, and lighting will be financial responsibility of the property owner and subsequently a homeowners association. Specific language with respect to drainage and compliance with the floodplain ordinance is included. Specific language with respect to existing drain tiles included. Access is planned along an expanded 4th Avenue and along Cleveland Avenue. We anticipate having an agreement with Lincoln County executed soon. Then an access path is available from Long Creek to the existing adjacent pasture. Sounds like there is still discussion ongoing for further access to the pasture, which I'm glad to hear. Just to comment very briefly on comments from earlier regarding a dead end sign or a private drive sign, I don't really think that's an issue. I think we can easily accommodate that. I can talk to Mitch, city engineer, about an engineering note. I don't know that that's something we've done before, but it wouldn't trouble me. The road that we're talking about, the right of way we're talking about is on sheet. You'll see it best on sheet 5. So it's kind of designated as Long Creek Trail, running from Long Creek back up to the north and then back behind the existing acreage there to the pasture. I certainly understand from a property owner perspective that, it's a little bit disconcerting to see that on your property. The only reason we ask for that is because a preliminary plan has to show how it's going to comply with the area's comprehensive plan. If you look at page 20 of our comprehensive plan, you'll see that the major streets plan also includes that road back there as part of our major streets plan. So that's really the only purpose of it. I highly doubt the property owners have any plan to develop back there. I think one of the speakers referenced that tonight. We don't have any plans to see anything back there. But for long-term planning, obviously the comprehensive plan is what we look at, and that's something that a preliminary plan is required to comply with. So that's the only reason for including it. Can certainly talk to Mitch about an engineering note regarding that right of way. I don't think that necessarily changes the intent of the prelim plan.
So are you guys looking for the sign to go off of Cleveland Street or off of 4th Street before it passes the Bellevue Avenue? Or can we ask them questions, or do we have to ask them approach, or?
Hopefully it's just approach, but my understanding is that it would be at where 4th Avenue meets their driveway.
Okay.
And, you know, there's a current dedicated right of way there for, I think, 300 feet. So.
Dedicated, that means, what is it? Does that mean
The
it's still their
city
property?
has it. It's the city's right of way at this
Okay,
point.
okay. Because Lincoln County shows that it's still their property.
It does, yes. We've got that in a few places around town. I'm not worried about it. We know that it's dedicated, the property owner knows that it's dedicated, it's right away. And so, you know, what I would intend to do then is on either side of, whether they want one or two, placing either a dead end sign or a private drive sign. Either of those would be fine, or both. And I think that would help keep that traffic out of there. I think that's a reasonable request. It might also make sense, and this is something I'm sure I can talk to the developer about having a sign that directs traffic for that development into that street rather than their driveway. So I think that would make sense.
Long Creek Trail, so is that gonna be, what's that going to be as part of this project? Is it just designated right away, or is it actually gonna be used for anything?
It's designated right away, but what it meets is our master trails plan. That was
So it's a
published-
future trail?
Yeah, way back, I'm guessing probably 12 years ago, we had a master trails plan published with the DOT.
So what you're saying, the lines on there, they're just showing, they don't mean anything right now, they're just showing what the future would bring, like 4th Avenue goes right through their house.
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah, it's
it's
showing,
not gonna go through their house, but it's just showing that the city's future plan was, if they ever developed it, that's.
if it were ever to be developed, which obviously is going to happen with the consent of the property owner, that would be the major streets plan. You know, that's what the comprehensive plan shows.
If they have something to say, can we let them approach? Or-
Chair's discretion, yeah.
I was just thinking, so like in my brain, what I see that future road, not future road, preliminary road is similar to like around Sioux Falls, where all that floody green space is. Like that's part of the future. If somehow the city ever got this land, that would be green space. And so that's more of like a road to green space.
It could be, I mean, it's possible to be that. I mean, the things that would have to happen for that to
Right.
become reality. I mean,
Right.
you're looking at, you know, look at where this hits Cleveland Street. It crosses Mr. Gibbons' pasture, a corner there. It crosses another private property. It then gets into this development, and then gets into the Hills property, and back into Gibbons' property, and then into Mykota Holdings, and I mean, it's all over the place. So the stars would have to align in a way that have never aligned in the history of Lennox.
Yeah. So realistically, it's just there because we have to have it there,
Correct.
not because we're
intending to do.
intending to do
Correct.
anything.
But on the Nelson's land where it's designed, that has to be set aside for that.
It would be set aside for that purpose, yes.
They couldn't build or do anything on it.
I mean, it's, no one would ever build there anyhow, cause it's
Right.
straight floodplain.
I mean, if, again, and I don't know if folks have kept up with the floodplain study that we've authorized Stockwell to conduct, but that will clarify to a greater extent what can be done where in that floodplain. But given how close that area is to actual Long Creek and having seen it flood a couple times now in a few years I've been here, I find it highly unlikely that anyone would have any interest in putting a house down there. I think we all remember the old Bible song, "Don't build your house on the sand."
So signage, no problem. Talking to Brian about trees. Future road. So realistically, there won't, I mean, there's no plan to put a driveway off of Cleveland there, even to get to that little piece of dedicated green space, that's just basically just gonna sit there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no,
In fact, I'm going to look at the drainage plan a second. I believe there's a detention pond down there. Yeah. So on the north side, looking at sheet 8, on the north side of what's called Long Creek Trail, there's a proposed detention area.
okay,
That's,
you know. Okay, so drain, over.
So, Mr. Jones brought up just the drain, I mean, the FEMA line, I know they're doing a study on that floodplain line and everything. I mean, in this sheet 8, the drainage plan, there aren't any proposed contours. I mean, I imagine this is very I mean, I don't know how preliminary this is.
it's preliminary.
Okay, so, cause I'm just like visualizing off of Jackson Court between Long Creek Trail and Jackson Court, I mean, yes, that is within FEMA's floodplain, I don't even know if it's like the updated FEMA floodplain.
It is. The blue line would be the proposed
That's
2024 for.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm like, okay, obviously they're planning on developing something in there more than likely, I mean, I imagine there's lots gonna be off.
Where they can, I would imagine, yes.
Right, and so they're gonna probably substantially build that area up.
Yeah, and so, there's several steps that have to come yet. I think the next one would be engineering submittals, and that's going to include a grading plan.
Right, so do any of those things go through us or go through council? I mean, is it just, once this is okayed, then Stockwell's you and Stockwell are the only ones that would
I
basically ensure that
believe-
they're following the permitting and,
Yeah, I mean, they've got to go through all the permitting processes, but it would all be administrative at that point.
okay,
Yeah.
and environmental and all, because I mean, obviously they're gonna be working in I don't know if,
Any number of
Any-
permits they're gonna have to get from
Yeah, I've seen-
Danner and,
I just know in Harrisburg, there were things that were done years ago that were designated wetlands, and I imagine there's something associated with that here. And they basically realigned a creek and everything, and that's exactly what can't happen here.
right,
So I'm just making sure that something like that doesn't happen in Lennox.
sure. And, we are a long ways off, as much as Mr. Nelson would like to start moving dirt tomorrow, we're a long ways off from that point.
Well, he says 2026, he wants to start digging. That's
And
what it
I
says on
don't,
here.
I don't find that unreasonable, I just don't think it's gonna be March. Just because you've gotta do the engineering submittal, you need a grading permit, you need the construction agreement, you need the development agreement, I mean, there's a lot of steps to follow this yet.
I just wanna make sure the environmental is,
I can check with Mitch on the
yeah.
delineation and particular, if that's your specific concern.
The environment, I mean, that is one of the concerns, because it's, I just know any of the pipeline that we've designed in Harrisburg, where we crossed, it ran along
Yep.
some of those wetlands were like designated by the Corps,
Mhm.
and so it's, I mean, I feel like the right people need to be talked to about this.
Right.
To make sure that all the boxes are checked, and, I mean, there's a reason that those permits are there, I just
Yep.
wanna make sure that Mitch and you are going about it right, which I
Right.
trust, I just wanna make sure it's done right,
Trust but verify.
that's right.
Yeah, I'll check in with Mitch tomorrow morning, and see where we're at with environmental review. I don't think any of that happened until we get to engineering submittals.
Okay.
That would be my, going back on past projects, that's my, recollection. But he would obviously remember that better than I would.
In the phasing plan on sheet 6, so the phase 1 is off of 4th Avenue. In phase 2 is everything along Cleveland Street. Are they gonna have some type of like, when it says phasing, I mean, is that like the phasing of how it's developed?
Yeah,
Or, so like when the houses are being built and everything, so like that Hunter Place Road, that's not gonna come in until later on?
phase 2 was the plan for that.
Okay.
I did have some discussions with him last week. I said, it's fine as is, but there may be some cost considerations to doing this phasing a little bit differently. That would push the development closer to Cleveland in the early years, and could lessen some expense. It really depends on what they have to do for grading work, I think, so.
I just know obviously they got 2 entrances into into Jackson Court,
Yep,
but how long does it take from phase 1 to 2 and 3? And I just know how it goes, if a development starts and then maybe suddenly the plug is pulled on it, and then there's only one access into that development.
that's when we call the bond.
Right.
Yep.
And that's what I'm saying is,
Yep.
they only have one access into there, and, I mean, if that one is ever be closed and there's emergency somewhere in there, emergency
Exactly.
service need to get into there.
And if we're looking at, potential, 2-story buildings, that changes what we're gonna need for fire access. So I think changing that phasing plan, while not necessary, may be advantageous to him and to the community.
Even if it's just, I imagine if that Hunter Place is there, they're gonna use that every single time instead of going on Fifth
Yeah.
Avenue.
I would.
Yeah, right, that's why I'm like, why not start
That's
with
the,
Cleveland?
that's the commuting pattern, so,
Right,
yeah.
because everybody's gonna be going on Cleveland, and
Yep.
Alex kind of brought up a good point about, there might be a fire code issue if you
A
have
requirement.
2 approaches in there. If there's no room to turn around a fire truck.
But that would come in with the IBC or the building code, wouldn't it?
Right.
Hey, Jim and Betsy, did the explanation of that Yankton, nope, not Yankton Trail, Long Creek Trail, did that explanation of that kind of make sense? Like, it's not necessarily a planned road, it's just to comply with the comprehensive plan? Like,
May I speak from here? Is
yes,
that all right?
yes,
Do you need me to go up there?
yep, nope, you're good.
So if,
Or
I'll come up here, why not?
yeah,
So the thing is it's not labeled, right? You don't even really know what it is. So if you're not gonna take it off, could you please consider my request of labeling it? I don't think that's out of line. Engineers know how to do it.
Sounds like
label
we're,
it for the line we're
Nate's gonna look
reflecting
into
the
that.
growth plan, because otherwise it's gonna look like we gave consent and we were part of this preliminary plan, because there's literally no notes, no line work associated.
well, realistically, the comprehensive plan's been there for 12 years already.
But
And you didn't
also-
even know about it.
Standard practice for a preliminary plan is to show the developer's land, and whatever they wanna do with it, whatever future growth for that. It is not standard to show private property owners on a preliminary plan. It's not.
It is standard. I can assure you it is a standard.
Upon my research, I don't know.
I was,
Now,
I mean,
no,
I'm not gonna
look at it
argue
this
either,
way.
but
If we
I'm
have
just
to show-
asking to have it labeled.
yeah.
That is a very simple request. Have it labeled, this line work reflects the city's comprehensive growth plan and is conceptual and subject to change. If you're not going to remove it, that way there's no confusion, and 20, 30 years down the line, when there's a new council, it's not misconstrued, like we participated in this. That's a simple request that I really hope you consider, because the fact of the matter is, this right-of-way goes through a pasture, it's operational, goes through a farmyard, if we're being honest. It goes through my house. How would you feel if I put together a preliminary plan and I put a road through your house and your yard and told you, don't worry about it? Think about that. And there's nothing on the plan with any line work associating what it is or if it's for future growth and subject to change. Because that's the situation I'm in. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable, and Nate's gonna talk with Mitch about it. I just wanted to make sure you had heard the conversation around it and understood it.
Thank you for letting me speak again.
Yep. Hmm.
Hey, do you know if that Long Creek Trail, if they're gonna do anything to that with this development, or is it
Like
like,
actually construct anything?
yeah, like, are they gonna actually do anything? I mean, obviously, it's not connecting anything on either end right now.
I would have to check with Mitch to see what the conversation was around that. I don't think so. If it was, it's just a standard walking trail. That would connect back into the development and only be on this development.
Correct me if
The
I'm
only
wrong.
one I can remember, the only walking trail I can recall was a requirement for one along Cleveland Avenue though, so I don't think so.
I know there's one that connects Jackson Court to Long Creek Trail, like an 8-foot path.
Yes.
Was part of the comprehensive plan also a requirement for green space, depending on the size of the development? So
Yep. So,
speculating that could,
Well, that's what that little
That's what
chunk down in the corner
Okay.
there
yes,
is.
the furthest south chunk,
Yep.
that's planned
Okay.
for the dedicated green space.
okay. But I could see it carrying over on the other side of the trail a little bit.
Yes. Given that, and again, we don't know what that flood study is going to show yet, but
Right.
if a large portion of that is essentially unusable.
Yep.
Plan it native. Yeah. And that's another note that we'll have. It's not on the preliminary plan, but we do require all natural areas to be, or all green areas to be seeded in native prairie at this point, so.
So there, I mean, I imagine there'll be a drainage analysis done on this, and for them to size this pond.
Yeah, they have to do drainage calcs on it, everything for the
Right.
engineering submittal.
And so the city's ordinances require that with the drainage analysis, any of the runoff that, storm runoff that leaves this site currently is not gonna change once this is fully developed.
It wouldn't be city ordinance, it would be state law.
Okay. I just didn't know what the city referenced.
Yeah, it's, and
Or
Mitch can answer it a heck of a lot better than I can. The state law dictates, if you're changing that, that detention pond, that retention purpose is to slow down the volume, the rate at which water leaves that property.
Yeah.
So that it's no greater than current. So there's a pre-development drainage calculation done and a post-development calculation done.
I just wanna make sure that that's required and that's
Right.
gonna be expected, and that pond is just sized the way it is, because obviously if there's flooding there, and I imagine that pond's gonna be absolutely massive.
It's gonna be sizable, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if they
And
wanna
you know,
build
it's-
stuff up, and I mean, whatever they're gonna be doing. I mean,
Surface lots.
it's just, yeah, there's a lot of.
You, Alex, you referenced Harrisburg and some drainage challenges there in the past, and that is largely why we take that part so seriously, because we know that there have been challenges in other towns that have led to difficulty for either adjacent properties or properties downstream.
Right.
And we obviously don't want to create that problem for anybody.
This is just a comment on the sanitary lines, but, ideally, I mean, this is just from my history, but not having the sanitary pipes like radius around the turns, like, where,
Like we loop water.
well, just like Jackson Court, I mean, where it, towards the southwest, where it's like, it's almost like radiusing around towards manhole 7. It's trying to make that turn, and I'm like, it's pretty unrealistic to have that happen.
Oh, I see.
Probably, yeah.
Should put like a 22.5-degree turn in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Probably have manhole at the corner, but
Yeah.
just something.
Again, isn't this preliminary, just showing intent?
Well, I'm just, there's obviously some thought that went behind it, and so I just
Okay.
wanna make sure that if this is the last moment that I have to say my piece, then I'm gonna say my piece.
He's an engineer, he's gonna
Yeah.
get into the details.
I just realized, so I just.
And if it is something that anybody wants to see engineering submittals when that time comes around, we'd be happy to provide that. They'll be public record at some point, so.
Any more questions?
So when are they gonna be allowed to start work? Like, there has to be a final approval from the city for them to commence? and-
Yeah, they'll need a construction permit and a grading permit at a minimum.
And that's through the city?
And obviously for the grading permit, they're gonna have to have their inner erosion plan and permit in place. I think there's one other permit they have to have through Danner for that. So you know, it's not just us that would have to approve that, it's part of agriculture and natural resources.
I would make a motion to recommend approval of the preliminary plan to city council with the 2 requests noted.
So 2 requests noted the sign and adding verbiage to the future line work.
Labels.
The engineering
clarify.
Yeah, with
Yep.
subject to change and everything. One last thing, so obviously these are the FEMA lines, what's the timetable on Stockwell's drainage analysis? And like the okay for them going on this, and, cause are they gonna grade, I mean, you obviously probably don't know, but are they gonna grade the entire site out, or are they gonna do just phase 1? I
If
imagine they're
we're
gonna
doing
go
it,
for
I grade only what I need to until that study's done.
Well, yeah, and I don't know if the city has that ability to say you cannot start until our drainage analysis is done and all of that is finalized.
We do, but I mean, we're probably looking at 6 months, I would imagine,
Okay.
to complete that. It's possible faster, but
The phasing and timeline does say site grading will take place coinciding with the phase one to ensure the utilities can be construction correctly. I'm guessing construction correctly. But I read into that maybe they do intend to do some grading all at once.
But they're going to have to do the grading outside of the 2024 proposed firm. They can't get into that.
Yeah, those are exactly the things that I just, 'cause when they get up to those lines, it's not like they're gonna drop a shut, I mean, they're gonna tie them in nicely, I imagine, just to get runoff, but
Right.
sometimes it's almost harder to see a preliminary plan and have an idea of what they're doing.
Well,
Not that we're
especially
doing
here,
a full
because
review
there is a
on
lot of grading work that's gonna happen.
Yeah, right, especially up against FEMA and
Right.
floodplains and all that.
You know, so it is, you know, admittedly difficult to see, like I can remember looking at the preliminary plan for Countryside and thinking, yep, makes sense, you know? It makes sense, but it's just harder for me to visualize, on that property.
So we have a motion out there.
Can you repeat that? What was the motion? To add it to.
The motion was to approve the
Recommend
preliminary.
approval to the city council.
Yep, with
With the two
the
notes.
signage and the verbiage on the plan.
Seconded.
Motion and a second. We will go with a roll call. Liz,
Aye.
Alex,
Aye.
Randy.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn. Thank you. Okay, I got some stuff to sign. Work tomorrow, Randy?